Some people might like it. Let's see. Work. Meeting ID not work.
She's yeah.
you froze
Meeting ID
again.
works.
Yeah, I'm getting it. You'd be freezing.
Oh,
Okay, there you go.
There you go.
Wait.
Wait, let me see this.
Right again. Oh, no.
What?
No.
What?
No, I'm sorry. I can't do this as I'm going live, I just can't. I'm sorry. I just gave somebody by accident the Zoom, and I'm live anyway. I just gave someone by accident the Zoom link. So if somebody pops in, just, let them hang out, I guess. I don't know, but it's,
We live?
it's Winston. Hold on a second. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So let me wait for that to load. And I can't do this because I'm live right now. So you go over to.
If you look over here, otherwise everyone's seeing the side of your face. This is the camera that matters.
No, I know. No.
Is this working over here on YouTube tonight? What's going on? Oh, there it goes. My live chat's not popping up. That's weird. Says I'm not. Helps for. Wait. Hold on, guys. We're having a little technical issue right away. Just hold on.
Okay.
Close. Okay, here we go.
Not going anywhere.
Okay. You have to understand, I have a lot of controls here in order to get this to move, and sometimes it just freezes and there's not much I can do. So, welcome everyone. If you have a question for Mark, or Barb, please type it in the chat. Right? Please type it in the chat.
Facebook?
I thought it was Facebook and not.
First names only. Okay, good. So I just totally messed up.
Oh, no.
I messed up, and I'm going to send but this is the link here. So hold on a second. This is the problem. So this is the YouTube. There we go. That's the one that you want. Okay. So Winston, I just sent you the if you're listening, I just sent you the YouTube link. So there you go. So hi Marisha, hi Dan, hi JJ. Nice to see you. Yeah, you have a question. I know already. Well, let's just first get this. I haven't really officially started the report. So hang on a second. So I haven't reported on my end. So here we go. Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the GoldFish Report. I'm your host and researcher, Louisa. Today is Friday, October 10th, 2025. This is GoldFish Report number 1176, and it's our weekly food for the soul with our friend, psychic medium, Mark Christopher Nelson, and his lovely wife, Barb, who is an enigmatic, creative, amazing steel magnolia who we're still waiting for. We're still waiting for Barb to come on and do a steel magnolia report, but I know she's been busy. So good to see you guys. I'm glad to see you this week. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Good to see you too.
Thanks. Yeah, it's been an interesting week as we move along. Can you guys hear my audio okay?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. I'm not really feeling my best. I don't know why. I'm just under the weather. I feel with the government shutdown, like a lot of people are saying, oh, the skies are clear. I'm like, no, they're not. They sprayed us like cockroaches before the government shut down to make sure they got as much toxic pollutants in the air as possible to make everybody sick. Honestly, I mean, it's like a direct correlation when you see that chemtrail spray and then you start feeling symptoms, of being unwell. But it could also just be that 5G, So Alex Jones recently was talking about this whole Havana syndrome and had this gentleman on who produced the movie Died Suddenly. And I don't have his name at the top of my head, but he and Tiffany Fontenot, the reverse speech analyst who comes on the GoldFish Report, they know each other. she is one of the people who he has been has discussed. This is about the nanotech that's in our bodies. It's about nanotech through our food, through the air, through medicine. I mean,
Mm.
even I was looking at uh video clips from people in the UK where they would dissolve a capsule of medication and then in water so you could see it, and it was a clear glass. And then so it was just the outer portion of it. They took like it was a capsule, so you took the medicine out and
Yeah.
you put the capsule in there, it dissolved. And then they took a magnet, and lo and behold, that there was magnetic particles in there. So when you have those particles in your body and then they turn on the 5G and they're ready to go to 6G, then we have a problem because then that it's interacting with the substances that's in our body. And so we don't really know. I mean, Julian Assange did warn us years ago about the smart dust and how dangerous that was. And that's pretty much what they're spraying on us.
Yeah.
So, there is an anti-life force on this planet. I've talked about this for years. Many years because there's evidence of it. But there is also good on this planet. And I can tell you right
Yes.
now that, look, unequivocally, I don't know if anyone's missed these headlines, but Putin has absolutely thrown out these Satanists. He has been very vocal about declaring them a terrorist organization. He knows what is going on in these underground bases. He knows what uh these trafficking, the human trafficking is really all about, and it's about the blood, it's about the adrenochrome and things of that nature. It's so horrific, folks. I know that nobody really wants to know about it, but turning the cheek the other way is, I don't think you're going to earn your way into heaven that way. I think we all
No.
have to face it. That's why we're here, to get rid of it. So we can't, it's difficult, but we have to, work together and make sure that we drive them out and make sure they don't come back. Now, Putin has been, really in charge of doing this, or at least when I say in charge, I mean, not that he's in charge of it. I just mean he's taken charge, is what I meant to say, of this in his country, in Russia. And he has really done a great job cleaning house. And the US is going to be next. US is going to start doing the same thing. And the fact that we even declared, Antifa a terrorist organization, this is really the beginning of it. And
Mhm.
he's going after all the funding for this, and it's all really going to come down. There is good coming. I'm not saying that there's not, other agendas that are being, we're in such a precarious place. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of all the agendas. I'm tired of how long it's taking. I'm tired of, everybody's tired. Everybody's tired of it.
Mhm.
But this is where we are, and we can kind of throw our hands up and, then what? So if we have to take a step back and get away from social media for a while, do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to do it. I do it too. It's it's part of, we need it for our own mental health, right?
I agree.
And you wanted to talk about this a little bit tonight, right, Mark?
Yeah,
Kind of the good.
actually, I got to tell you, everyone, my sister was telling me about a movie called Nefarious. In a nutshell, Nefarious is about a doctor who goes to interview a serial killer in prison who claims to be possessed by a demon. So my sister, we're on the phone, we're talking about it and talking about the different thing. It's like, how does this work? Well, in the film, the demon explains in rather clear detail how they go about possessing, taking over someone's life. And as we're talking about it, our phones go dead. So it's like, what cut off, just as we're talking about how Satan uses uh, his his methods for controlling people, our phones stop working, our connection breaks. That seems more than coincidental. And that brings up the idea. One of the points in Nefarious, the film, is that whether you realize it or not, you are a participant in the battle between good and evil. Every soul is involved with it. So if you think this is just something we read about in the news, we talk about the news on the show, we talk about spiritual issues, but the idea is that in some way, shape, or form, are you contributing to the success of God and good, or are you contributing to Satan and or demonic dark forces? And I know it's just a film, but it was very eloquent. I urge everyone to go see it. It's about a 2-year-old film, 3-year-old film. It's tough to watch because it's just brutal in its depiction of
Written.
how very well written about how Satan, the enemy, uses demons to break us, make us soft, get us to a point where we can accept certain things. And it's all about incremental steps. um, he says, no, we don't take you over in one step. It's a whole series of yeses. You say yes to this, yes to this, yes to this, until we finally own you.
That's kind of what the deep state's doing.
And deep state does the same thing. And that it seems like any enemies of our democracy, our republic, use the same tactics. So before you say, oh, it's just a small thing, I'm just a small cog in a small wheel, what could my contribution, what could my spiritual choices have to do with the grand battle between good and evil on this planet? Well, your soul, your mind, your choices matter in a very, very clear, important way. So the idea is to be conscious of the choices we make. Are we guilty of incrementalism and slipping into the dark place that Satan has for us, or do you want to move towards the light? Please think about it.
Oh, there goes my microphone. Can you guys hear me okay? I think that's
Yeah.
Did
better, but
everyone hear? I hope people
no,
heard
it's
me.
a good they were able to hear you. I just had my mic off. Yeah, I mean, we all have to we all have free will. I mean, that's really our ultimate test here, right? Is if you want to be like the fallen angels and you want to rebel against God and you want to, join Team Satan, that's your free will. He's going to let you do it. But there's consequences, meaning that you stay here and let the with the underworld that's ruling this place, or if you choose not to do that, then you have a good chance of going to heaven. But it's all about your heart. I mean, God knows your heart. You can't fool him. You are never, or her. You can never fool our creator,
No.
because they read our energy. It's in our energy. They read our countenance, and so does Satan, by the way.
Satan.
Yep.
So, sorry.
Oh,
So,
one other thing. Can I
go
just
ahead.
throw out
Yeah,
one
go
other
ahead. No, of
thing?
course. Go ahead.
Is that the idea that um, God made us in His image, and so why does Satan and demons want to harm us? Well, because God loves us, and when the Satan harms us, damages us, it hurts God. So that's a big rationale reason why.
Yeah.
So what's in it for Satan to
Yeah.
corrupt, take you over? Another thing too, again, not to get into this film too much, but it also does a great job of explaining the rationale Satan has for why did he rebel. Um, you know, Basically saying that even though Satan understands that he's going to lose, there are reasons why Satan continues, the enemy continues to try to take us from our path, our goals, our place at God, with God. And it's
Yeah.
fascinating, and it challenged me to think a lot.
Yeah. They want to take as many souls with them as possible. I mean, that's the short answer,
Mhm.
because that would make Satan happy. And it's really a test. I mean, you really have to put on that armor of God. I just want to go to the live chat
Yes.
though and say hi to everybody who's there. And Marisha and Karen, welcome. I'm so glad you joined me this week. I know I see a couple of questions. Mark, are you ready for questions?
Sure, I can take some questions.
Okay, good. So Dan has a question. He says he wants to know if you feel that Three Eye Atlas is inhabited, or is it completely automated?
I tend to think it's completely automated. I think it's going to be a major distraction for a short period of time, but I don't see it having consequential impact on our life here. I think it's going to bring up a lot of questions, but I don't see it as inhabited. I don't think it needs to be inhabited. With the technology that if this in fact is an intelligent craft, they don't need to have people on board to run it, or beings of some kind.
Interesting. Well, when you look at those orbs, right? The orbs aren't, there's nobody inside the orbs, but
No.
it's powered and it's operated somehow. So that's interesting. Um Well, thanks for that. And then we have oh yeah, and there's also Laura. I see Laura there. And Marisha has a question. She says her dear friend Pat has been on her mind all day. Does she have a message for her? I presume Pat's crossed over, Marisha. I guess she'll let me know if she's already crossed. Maybe you
Yeah.
could figure that out, Mark. I know you usually can.
I really do feel like Pat has stepped and crosses on the other side. Pat is saying she's showing me flowers, which to me commemorates either like a birthday or an event that comes up. She's telling me she's giving me a big smile. Pat is smiling and telling her, celebrate, be happy, know that I'm good, I'm clear, and that she can move. I don't know if Pat had difficulty with mobility or joint pain. She's
Mhm.
no longer suffering from that and is very,
Mhm.
very happy at an intellectual level.
Oh wow, very good. Very good. You know, I saw this YouTube video the other day of a man who had a a near death experience in your life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're almost living, right? People are like, "Oh, you know, uh, rest in peace, but what about live in peace, right?" I mean, so we just have it all
Mhm.
backwards, I guess. So, and he was talking, it was so wonderful. One of my favorite, for all my friends out there who know me, they know that one of my favorite movies is Defending Your Life. And I've told, Mark and Barb, you've watched that, you know that
Mhm.
movie pretty well
Mhm.
too, right?
Yeah.
And so it was
I
interesting
love it.
because this gentleman was explaining how there are these, because he had an injury and he was in the hospital. He was declared dead for like 11 minutes or something, and then he came back. But it's always amazing. I just love to hear these stories because I like to hear how consistent. First of all, they're quite consistent, Mark. You've probably heard many of them too, right?
Yes.
And
Um,
it's very
Go ahead.
consistent, isn't it?
Yes. People talk about being able to see those around them, but they also get a chance to time. I've talked about this a bunch. Time is not the same when you're on the other side. You've got the time to look at so many things about your own life, or in fact, you may only be officially dead in your body for seconds or minutes.
Amazing. I'm sorry, I said I was a little under the weather. Um, so he was talking about how you do go into a life review.
Hmm.
And you go in, and which is I keep thinking of the movie every time, we talk about this. I think of Defending Your Life, where, Albert Brooks goes into this. It's so hard. He has such hard lessons, right? And he goes in and he's always defending himself. And you see that he didn't, and it's I love the movie because it has such a real feel, I mean, it's a comic relief to a very, touchy subject,
Yeah.
and I love how they
Absolutely.
handle it in the movie and with comedy, But
Right.
but from what I've seen, I mean, and you can vouch for this too, um, it's just consistent that there's always a life review, and it's from the person's perspective who you were
Yes.
interacting with. So if it ended up in a bad, situation, like if you did something to hurt somebody, you're going to feel it from their point of view. And that in itself is enough to make us all straighten ourselves out. Because
Sure.
who wants to spend that, and it's not, I get it that there's no judgment in it.
Mhm.
But it's difficult to experience that, from the other person's point of view, from the other person's emotions. And I guess the discussion happens when you're, in that limbo state, to where you either you can decide whether to come back and try to fix these karmic issues, or
Mhm.
move on and whatever. But you know what they said in this particular experience? They said that there's like not everybody chooses to incarnate here. Like they know how hard it is to be here. Only
Mhm.
the strongest souls can incarnate here, from what I understand. Um, from what these people who have near-death experiences report when they come back, uh, they say that they have this insight, and I think even Dolores Cannon talked about this too. But that there's like these halls of knowledge and information, and you want to learn about anything in our historical, period, any period of time, the information is there. So what they were saying was that everybody can learn whatever they want to, either in spirit, because it's all accessible and available.
Hmm.
Um, but to come here to learn it and have that experience is, it's just a whole other, it's a whole other level, really. Um, but I find it, that comforting on one hand, because there was always somebody there to greet you and to comfort you and to
Hmm.
explain what was going on. Um, but there's it's and you can see, like, they describe these tall pillars, these tall columns, these huge, I mean, gigantic buildings, like bigger than any human would need to be in. And we just look at Tataria and you just see that structure all over the
Hmm.
place. You
Hmm.
see that, and you just, it kind of makes you really feel like that, Jesus already had his millennial kingdom here. But so I don't, looks like there's evidence for it, but I'm not going to say definitively. But anyway, did you guys did you want to comment on that? And that whole, like, people on the other side, do they talk about those,
You want to?
like, those reviews, or do they talk about, like,
That's a,
what it
Okay.
looks like, or
I can talk about it a little bit.
okay.
What I've been told is that people who do want to incarnate again can, and that it really is a choice. I've also been told that our spiritual beings, in order, it's like when you're in spirit, it's like being in the lecture for what it is to learn about, our lives. Why am I here? What am I doing? But the lab side of it is when you come to Earth, and at a very physical level, you test it out. So it's like these classes that have a lab and a lecture. That's a very simple way to look at it. It's like you hear, you feel, everything feels hypothetical in spirit. Now I need to go live, feel, try to understand the temptation, the gift, the struggle, the joy. You have to be human or on the physical plane to do that. Also, too, have seen people talking about the idea that when we go to evaluate our lives, to defend our lives, so to speak, that we play a very active role in not being able to shy away from the things that we've done. There's no getting away from it. You, in fact, somewhat different than the film, we judge ourselves, but because our egos which are no longer, which are tied to the body, are no longer the factor, we can then take a perspective like, I'm going to learn from my mistakes. I'm going to learn from this incarnation. I'm going to take something from it. And that usually is something that would, on your soul's journey, make you stronger, better.
Mhm.
That's the goal and objective.
That's interesting. And of course, my probably my favorite part of the movie was the past lives pavilion. And this guy from that was having this near death experience was, said that that you can find out who all of your past lives were. And that's just fascinating. I mean,
Some of them
scary.
are
It's a
fun.
little scary too, but you can do this as well. I mean, you told me a couple of past lives that I had.
Well, I think that they
Um,
contribute to, I mean, at a soul level, which is kind of your higher consciousness, you want to not make the same mistakes. You want to learn from where you've been. It's not like you pick up where you dropped off, so to speak, but the idea is that I want to focus on being in uh, a place where I can affect change. I want to be in a spiritual realm on earth. I want whatever it is, you know. So in Barbara's case, I'm can I tell a little bit about your past life?
oh,
It, what I saw for Barbara
uh,
is that she worked on the Brooklyn Bridge, and that I know, and that she was an engineer, and she was complaining bitterly to the people who were running it that you're not using
enough
um,
steel.
enough steel. You're not using
I was in charge of the cabling.
That's another
wow, Barb, that's
thing.
awesome. Holy
And then it's
cow.
funny, and then in this life,
They were having money issues and they were, what happened was the person in charge that I was dealing, I was the contractor and I said, yeah, you have to wrap a little more steel. It's not enough, because I was thinking ahead of what, it's not just going to be a pedestrian bridge anymore.
Mhm.
It'll have, vehicles on it. And I worked on the second tower. So the first tower that is facing or toward Manhattan, that
Mhm.
was the first tower. The second tower was the one closer to Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And that's the one I worked on. And I told Mark that was the tower, and it crumbled. It actually crumbled in I think the early 90s, or they had to re embrace it because the cable was starting to fail.
Oh,
And
wow.
I told Mark about all of this
Mhm.
before I found that out. And I go, well, that was the one I worked on. And I said, and I was mad. I walked off the job because I said, you're putting people in danger.
Wow.
And so every
That's
job I've
amazing.
been on, I've had experience the same type of thing,
what about
warning
the
people.
what about that display made out of aluminum versus steel that
Yeah,
tipped?
I worked for this in Ohio, the Kosai Museum, and we were doing all these it was a traveling show, a museum show based on speed. And so we had these
The concept of speed.
kind of trapezoidal
Mhm.
carts
Mhm.
that you wheeled them in and wheeled them out, and they had all the displays on it for the kids. And one of the guys I was working with, he was recommending tube steel, four-inch tube steel. And I'm like, wow, that's really heavy. That's gonna fall over on people. And he goes, well, what do you know? And I know that that's heavy. Steel's heavy. Why don't you use aluminum?
Mhm.
And he's like, oh, it's so much more expensive. And so
Wow.
my girlfriend was in the model shop when they were building the mock-up of it in steel,
Mhm.
and they were all having lunch, eating lunch, and uh, all of a sudden the whole trapezoidal
Mhm.
cart just
Mhm.
collapsed and
Wow.
fell over. And she goes, Barb, I wish you would have been there.
Told you.
And
Wow.
and they ended up going to the aluminum. But he
Wow.
never told me that. My coworker, he never said that. It was because my girlfriend was there and she saw the whole thing and she goes, and on top of that, they built it inside. So when they tried to move it out, it was too tall. So they had to take it apart. So anyway, it was,
Yeah.
so,
Interesting.
long story short, I faced over and over the same, you know,
Yeah.
That to me supports the concept that we look at mistakes from past lives, challenges, and we try to do them better in this life.
right.
I also think that we choose to, like, what kind of family, what kind of environment, what kind of culture do I want to be born into that would support my objective at my personal objective to being a better person, a higher functioning soul. So that's how
Right.
that looks to me.
Well, that's interesting. So, yeah, well, there's a couple of questions in the chat. And of course, Winston, our friend Winston Shroud has joined us. He's in the house, in the
Yeah.
chat. There we go. Hi, Winston. And so Laura has a question here. Winston has some comments, which I'll get to in a second, but I want to go in order. So Laura says she'd like to know about her niece, Jessica's mental health and stability, and if she will be able to turn her life around.
Right now, it feels like you said Jessica.
Yeah, it's her name, Jessica.
Jessica feels like it's in a very dark place. The one, it feels dark, but the one thing I can tell you is that um, it can be turned around. I'm seeing someone pull on a light, on like a little a turn on off chain for a light. So what she does with this, it feels like that her natural inclination is to go to the dark, to fall into bad habits, it feels like that someone is going to need to ride her, be on her in order for her to break free of her bad psychological habits. Also, to chemically speaking, she is predisposed to um, negative thought patterns. And I think that I'm going to go to say that some of these negative thought patterns may be even demonic. I'm beginning to understand that it isn't just a chemical reaction, but it can be a reaction that, say, a dark spirit can take advantage of, can exploit. So I would say praying for her, being consistent with her, and trying to help her avoid going to the dark to having these episodes, what I think everyone calls them, is the only way to fight this. So consistency, persistence, prayer, all of those things will be required for her to truly break free of this.
Okay, well, that's interesting. Thank you for that. And, Winston's got a bunch of comments here about, uh, you know, going into the astral and cleaning the astral plane and lower astral. Um, says also that Dr. Michael Newton's books, A Journey of the Souls and Destiny of Souls, might be a topic if people are interested in this topic to read about that. He also said Newton concentrated on the time between lives. Yeah, Dolores Cannon. No, I know Dolores Cannon didn't do that, but um, she was able to get information from people who, recalled that, um, it took a really strong soul to be here because, one of the things that she talked about about this change in frequency, really a separation of like the earth is raising its frequency almost like a snake sheds a skin, right?
Mhm,
So except that there's still some of the, let's just say for this lack of better, you know, just for conceptually speaking, there's still an old snake in the old skin.
mhm,
Um, so so there's this new earth. This was her perspective, her opinion, that a new earth was basically being formed, that was of a higher vibration and that would not tolerate these lower vibrational entities or behavior or anything like that. So that's a, yeah, she said, thank you. That was very helpful. Laura said that. So,
good.
yeah, so Dolores Cannon really only mentioned that it was like sh- she is the one who started telling the story that Earth was in trouble and these souls heard the call. A call went out. I remember Dolores describing it. She says a call went out and souls came, Earth was in trouble and, souls came to help. And so we came to incarnate, if that's accurate. And I think that it is a tough place to be. I mean, this is this is tough. This is duality. This is good and evil. This is, the probably, the toughest, I mean, I don't know, I haven't been anywhere else, but I mean it that I can recall, but I mean it's a very tough school here for sure. And I think Winston talked about this in one of our reports, one of our country roads once in the past, that this was maybe the new and everlasting covenant, which was a new way to um not wait like many 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 lifetimes, but rather um a new way to teach souls,
Mhm.
for souls to evolve and for souls to learn in less time than it would normally take. And Winston, see, I did pay attention to all those things he talked about. So I don't know, how does that resonate with you guys?
Well, I think that, the idea that we come back and we keep learning. We're here for two reasons: to love, and when you love, you learn, and then also purely to learn. So, and that to me is about learning your own game, your own shtick. Barbara, what do you think about it?
Hmm. But past lives?
Why?
No, really about the idea of being here and yeah, Mentina's archive, exactly, Winston. That was the one we were talking about. Oh, I have to tell everybody.
Good
So,
thing.
one of my YouTube channels was restored, one of my old ones,
Oh,
and
really?
I'm gonna share it with everybody. It's not the original though. I thought it was
Wow.
interesting how the original one was not restored. Let me just see if I can pull it up real quick because I was quite surprised to see it. Let's see if I can find it here.
Why would that just bubble up? Any idea?
What do you mean bubble up?
Why would it just kind of reappear for out of the blue?
Well, I had heard that because there's intervention going on. Now, I want to show everybody something. When I first started doing reports, I told people that they could copy the uh the links, copy the reports, but not my channel. I never said you could copy my channel. So whoever is copying this channel, stop because uh that's not fair. You can definitely take the reports and put it on your page, but see, this is not okay. This is not my channel. Somebody is bootlegging this. So
Really?
that's not nice. Yes, it's not
What?
nice. So, and I'll show it to you. It's only got one video in it, and it's 353 TOTUS report. So it's Traitor of the United States. This is when Biden took over. And then look how they keep closing in on my eyes. It's really weird. So whoever
What are
did
they doing
this,
that?
and I can complain till I'm blue in the face. They're not going to, take it down. It's a 2-hour report. So that's not the actual, that's not my channel, but they've taken my logo, which is a trademark infringement, and they really shouldn't do that. So if whoever's watching should really delete that. But this is one of the older channels. Look at this. This goes back a long time ago. This goes back. Look, some of these 4
400
years
we're
ago.
doing. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, I used to have look, 7.8 thousand views. I mean, I
Wow.
had a very big channel before every report got at least, here, this is 19,000 reviews. I mean, 19,000 views, 1,500. They really tore me to pieces on this, really. And it was just it's all a variety depending on, what the topic was. This was 6,000, 1,500, but if I go back, I mean, look, this goes back 5 years and then it keeps going back. Um, Here, look, 20,000 views, 12,000, 20,000 on these reports
Wow.
here. I mean, my channel was big, 22,000, and of course I've had some with 150,000, like on BitChute actually, and so, it all depends on what it was about, right? Here's
Mm-hmm.
a good one people should look up regarding this was one of my bullet point presentations regarding bullet points really focused on an area of policy of the president, like a presidential powers. So this had to do with these are emergency powers. And then here we have this has to do with furloughs, rifts, and things of that nature, which is what we're really pretty much that was because the
Sure.
last shut down probably. So you could see that this goes 6 years ago. This goes back. I mean, Winston, our country roads reports are in here. So that's nice. I mean, a lot of them are in here, not all of them, but a lot of them are. 18,000 views, 6,000 views. I mean, this really, here's one with James Gilliland. It's been a long time, 7 years, you see, it's been a long time.
Wow.
So this is, yeah, so this was when we had to change over. This was my notification 7 years ago when I had to get create a new channel.
My,
The first channel, I don't know where it is, but I just wanted to share that with everybody. And so Scott is on here. Scott's in here doing, here's Winston vacating void judgment. Sorry, I couldn't get that out right. I mean, Winston's a wealth of knowledge. He's an amazing person. I'm so, privileged to know Winston and to call him my friend. Yeah, Mentina Archives. It's right here, Winston. Look. There he is. Oh, my hair was a mess. And more of it. Okay, so we'll just keep going.
Well,
Let's
well,
see.
actually, I had a couple questions for you.
Okay.
And um, right now we're
Frozen.
all, are you
Keep
back?
talking.
Okay.
You can
I
keep
mean,
talking.
that's
It's just frozen.
fascinating, and I'd love the show to get be big and popular and not sat on by YouTube. But my question is, have you? I think that underneath what's happening with the government shutdown, there's good and evil percolating through this. Barbara, you've had your opinions on that too.
I think this is a time to everybody has to like put their armor on because I think things are going to happen that are out of the ordinary that you're not going to expect. For instance, Mark and I were just in a car accident, and he told me what you told me that morning,
Yeah,
right?
something feels off.
Yeah,
Something feels
something feels off.
something wrong or bad's going to happen.
No
Yeah.
way, you said that and then you had a
Yes.
car accident?
Something
Yeah,
doesn't
and
feel right, and then
he
bang.
only does that like before 9/11 he got a feeling about something. I go I'm like, so is it going to be bad or what's going on? And so luckily it wasn't as bad as
Oh,
it could have
wow.
been. But all I'm saying is that right now everyone needs to prepare, and if it's saying a prayer or
Yes.
blessing, we bless ourselves every morning. We have our holy water, and it's because this is a battle of good and evil, and there are demons out there that are going to attack all the good people, and throw you off your mark. That's
Yeah.
their job. And so
Wow.
computer glitching. I had
Mm.
computer glitching today. I've never had before. Like it was interrupting my work. And I'm like, I just sat there and I said a prayer and it all stopped.
Mm.
So it's like people work meetings I've had with people, they seem off for some reason. It's really weird. It's like, so all I'm saying is we are under attack. There's evil around us and you can protect yourself, but be aware. That's the main thing, is to be aware right now.
Well, I think that they use people in our lives to try to, they really do. The dark is always there prowling. And it's interesting because there's a woman on X who her name is Karen Cochran, I think her name is.
Hmm.
And she does these she uses these filters she puts on images, not only that she takes, but other people take and send to her just of the
Hmm.
sky. It's
Hmm.
amazing what's up there. And it's
Hmm.
amazing. Like if you really look at the surface of the sun, whatever sun that is, it's not the local sun. It's got to be the galactic central sun because this one's local. You could see it from an airplane. I mean, it's like low. It's not 93 million miles away. I'm sorry. Maybe
Wow.
another one is, but this one
Hmm.
isn't.
Wow.
Um, it just isn't. It's just too many videos out there showing that this is local. You see this clouds behind it.
I haven't seen that,
But
but okay.
it's exactly the way it was described in the Bible, though. I mean, it's the Bible didn't say it was 93 million miles away. In fact, we're under a dome, so we're under a firmament. So how could it be 93 million miles away? Or just forget it, forget it. I mean, we have to trust what our eyes see.
Mhm.
Forget about the indoctrination, forget about, you know, uh going along with the status quo. If your eyes see a flat horizon that rises the higher you go, then believe
Mhm.
that's what you're seeing, because that is
Mhm.
what you're seeing. I mean,
I-
it's amazing. If you look at what the Bible says, there's 125 at least passages that refer to the way this earth was created, this world was created. Um, they're
Janice.
they're not that it doesn't match anything that NASA's told us. So what do you believe?
Well, one of the things is I really do sometimes get the impression, I mean, you see videos, I've seen so many videos where something is glitching and it's not just a trick, but it's almost, are we in a matrix? I and the one thing I do think is that, sometimes it comes down to semantics. I believe that there are different dimensions, many different dimensions. And so we're comfortable in the third, three-dimensional. If you think philosophically, that may be a fourth dimension. Certainly, spirit activity, seeing God, embracing God, asking for spiritual help is like a fifth dimension. Barbara and I have been out investigating, and we've seen things that clearly don't fit into your,
Right,
everyday
right.
third dimension.
Well, You guys don't fit into the third dimension. That's why you're on
No,
our
well, it's
report
an
here. So
uncomfortable
come
fit
on.
sometimes.
But that's it. That's what a medium is. You're a medium between the dimensions. And so, you can access uh this when we die, we go to another dimension.
Hmm. Yeah,
So that's really
I
what it
think
is.
so.
I mean, because I have left my body. I don't know if I told you this experience, and I don't want to get into the details, but I have left my body. I felt
Hmm.
myself, I felt my soul leaving my body,
Hmm.
and that woke me up. I was like it didn't like I didn't open my eyes. I just became completely aware of it happening. And I thought I was dying. Said, okay, I died. That's what but I'm thinking this to myself.
Sure.
See? And I was consciously aware of this happening as I was leaving my body. Next thing you know, I'm up over my body, looking down at my body.
That I've heard
And
many times. It really
and
has.
the first thing I said to myself was, what a relief to drop that body. Like,
Uh,
honest to
Yeah.
God, it
Can
was
I have a
like,
better one? I want one that's
what a relief. It was so heavy. I mean, it was just on my soul. It was so
uh,
heavy on my soul. My soul had the sense of complete freedom, just without any weight, but holding me down. It was like an anvil, like in the old Bugs Bunny cartoons, with Yosemite Sam. It was like an anvil tied to your,
the
keeping
road
you here
runner.
on this earth plane.
Yeah.
And so that's what happens. And you do see yourself, from above. You do see your body below. And then that part of you that's not physical. So I was out of my physical body. And so then at that point, I was instantly in another dimension.
Were
And
you?
I was conscious and I was having communication, but it was telepathic. Of course, as you've no
Mhm.
mouth, it's all telepathic, just like it is in a dream. So we're
Mhm.
doing this on dreams too, and we're also changing timelines. We're
Mhm.
also, visiting other timelines as we're dreaming, um, I think as well. But I just say that this particular situation was an experience where I was in another dimension and I was having a meeting. And I remember some of it, but I don't, they don't let you remember everything, or, you wouldn't
No.
be, it wouldn't be a test if you knew the answers already, right? So,
Yes, absolutely.
yeah. So Winston's saying only 25% of the population actually has a soul attachment. So, I mean,
Really, I've
I
never
believe
heard
it.
that, but
I
okay.
believe it. I mean, look at the NPCs out there. There's just a lot of people out there that never have this reflection, this internal reflection. Am I doing the right thing, or have I, they're just they just go, 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 and there's never any, thought to what they're doing about, how they're
Mhm.
doing it, how they're interacting with people. I mean, you could call them psychopaths too, but I mean,
Or
it's
soulless.
right? Yeah. So, it is another dimension. And what's amazing, is how you are a tuner, you're like a radio, you tune into that, Mark, and that's
Mhm.
really amazing. Like I said, I mean, I've had an experience like that once where somebody
Mhm.
literally in spirit grabbed me. You could almost like grab me by like I was walking and they like grabbed me. They're like, you need to go tell her. I have a message for her. And I was like, okay. Like I knew what was happening and I wasn't afraid. But I was, just hoping that it would happen more often. But I guess at that point in time, I'm telling you, it was really a character. This person was a character on the other side to kind of, I feel like they kind of grabbed, like I didn't feel them grabbing me, but it was like a, whoa, you're not going anywhere, pull me back, kind of get my attention. And so they could, get a message to one of their loved ones. I'm sure they're not quite that, um,
Some people are kind of bigger than life, or they're bigger than what they were in life, you know?
yeah.
So I think
It's-
that's real. It just it takes, a lot of guts, nerve to want to grab someone.
So,
yeah.
Louisa, I wanted to mention this movie we just saw. It's called The Dragon Prophecy, and it's by that author Jonathan Kahn. He's actually a Jewish rabbi, but he
Believes in Christ.
believes in Christ. And so anyway, Dinesh D'Souza made this film
Mm,
about his book, and it's really fascinating because
mm,
the whole gist of is it traces the history of Israel in the Bible, like real places. He visited, Capernaum, was it? Which is rubble now. He visited Galilee. He visited all these places in the Bible to show that these are real places. This really existed. This is where Herod was. This is where the Romans were. And but that this battle of good and evil has been going on since the dawn of man, and it's endless. It still goes on.
Well, in third dimension, you have duality. And so that's why you're always going to have that, right? Because we're
Hmm.
always in
Right.
duality consciousness. That's what the third dimension is here to teach us for. And Winston made a very good point on a report that we did once. And he said some souls just a contract for a 3D experience. Like not everybody's ascending, not everybody's going to be, going through this, energetic transformation. Not everybody contracted for that. I thought that was interesting. What do you think about that?
Well, I tend to think, here's the thing, it's like when the people that come to me, I've never experienced someone without a soul. But I also know that I attract not everyone in the universe. Not everyone here. I attract a very specific area. But I've yet to see people without souls. But it's an interesting concept because
Mm,
certainly there appears to be quite a few people that just are so base in their operation and their character. They don't seem to have any interest in ethereal or spiritual topics.
mhm,
They're more interested in only, if it seems like only in what's happening here. Are they going to make money? Are they going to,
mm,
have sex with someone? Are they going to buy something and just have a very kind of a low vibrational life?
mhm.
And so the idea that some of those people could be without souls, it's more than interesting. It could be a really
Or demon possessed.
or demon possessed. How many people are demon possessed or they just have given up any connection to,
Yeah.
the divine? I think
Did,
quite a few.
I wanted to play that clip from Paul Harvey.
Oh,
Oh,
If
yeah.
you guys don't mind, I know we're getting close to the end,
Love
but I
it.
don't think it's very long. And I think it's
really
called If I
good.
Were the Devil. And I think it's something that we need to really, really realize that this is among us and um really kind of playing out right now. So let me just screen share this and then we can comment on it, like how we can draw comparisons to it right now, that we're seeing happen in our life.
Because he
Hold
did
on.
this, I think, in the 60s.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm. All right. Oops.
I were the devil. If I were the prince of darkness, I'd want to engulf the whole world in darkness, and I'd have a third of its real estate and 4/5 of its population, but I wouldn't be happy until I had seized the ripest apple on the tree. Thee. So I'd set about, however necessary, to take over the United States. I'd subvert the churches first. I'd begin with a campaign of whispers. With the wisdom of a serpent, I would whisper to you as I whispered to Eve, do as you please. To the young, I would whisper that the Bible is a myth. I would convince them that man created God instead of the other way around. I would confide that what's bad is good and what's good is square. And the old I would teach to pray after me, Our Father, which art in Washington.
Yeah.
And then I'd get organized. I'd educate authors in how to make lurid literature exciting so that anything else would appear dull and uninteresting. I'd threaten TV with dirtier movies and vice versa. I'd peddle narcotics to whom I could. I'd sell alcohol to ladies and gentlemen of distinction. I'd tranquilize the rest with pills. If I were the devil, I'd soon have families at war with themselves, churches at war with themselves, and nations at war with themselves, until each in its turn was consumed. And with promises of higher ratings, I'd have mesmerizing media fanning the flames. If I were the devil, I would encourage schools to refine young intellects, but neglect to discipline emotions. Just let those run wild. Until before you knew it, you'd have to have drug-sniffing dogs and metal detectors at every schoolhouse door. Within a decade, I'd have prisons overflowing. I'd have judges promoting pornography. Soon I could evict God from the courthouse, then from the schoolhouse, and then from the houses of Congress. And in his own churches I would substitute psychology for religion and deify science. I would lure priests and pastors into misusing boys and girls and church money. If I were the devil, I'd make the symbol of Easter an egg and the symbol of Christmas a bottle. If I were the devil, I'd take from those who have and give to those who wanted until I had killed the incentive of the ambitious. And what'll you bet? I couldn't get whole states to promote gambling as the way to get rich. I would caution against extremes in hard work, in patriotism, in moral conduct. I would convince the young that marriage is old-fashioned, that swinging is more fun, that what you see on TV is the way to be. And thus I could undress you in public, and I could lure you into bed with diseases for which there is no cure. In other words, if I were the devil, I'd just keep right on doing what he's doing. Paul.
Wow.
You're right. That was a long time ago, but it seems like we can really,
Prophetic.
it is, isn't it? So he knew something, didn't he? But recently
Wow.
President Trump said he wanted to ask people, he was kind of putting out a litmus test, right? He wanted to find out what people thought about putting a very tall statue of Jesus on the White House lawn. Did you guys see that?
No, but I would love to do that. I mean, we're based on Christian principles, and that whatever
Well,
people benefits they have, I think that if Jesus was there, they'll have everybody screaming, "Oh, separation of church and state." But there are certain principles that are written into our money, into our Constitution, into everything. And if so our founding fathers didn't what our founding fathers didn't want us to do was to have the official Church of Washington, because some states used to, and way back in the origins, beginning of our country, there was a state church for Massachusetts, for Virginia. And so they didn't want that to happen. But this is a million miles from that.
I would not want to be the artist that is commissioned to do the rendition of what Jesus looks like. I would not want to be that
You
guy.
know what it looks like, the one that they're showing, and I'm trying to find it to show you, but it looks like the one that's in Rio de Janeiro, just kind of
Oh,
standing
yeah,
there with the arms
yeah,
open, and it kind of
right.
works for Rio de Janeiro, but I'm not sure it would work for Washington D.C., although I do, think that
That, yeah. The one in Rio de Janeiro is actually kind of modern because it's so big, it has to be simplified. So it's a little more streamlined. It's not as, I don't know how big he wants the statue to be. So
I'm
that
trying
one,
to
that
see,
one
I'm trying to
works.
find it.
I think that one works okay, because it's more of a modern version. But if they're gonna do a rendition, yeah, you'd have so many people like, you know, Jesus was Middle Eastern, he should have this feature.
It's funny because a lot of people that do have these near-death experiences who say they meet Jesus always say that he doesn't look the way we depict him here on earth.
He doesn't look like a Viking in sandals.
Right, right. Definitely. They say, his skin is darker. So Gene, who is
Yeah,
that? Putin was out saying Jesus is black. I mean, it's funny. I mean, his skin was, well, some say his skin was olive, so I don't know if they would say
yeah,
that.
I
Yeah,
tend
but
to think of it
probably,
yeah,
yeah.
would have
somewhere
to be,
between
right?
like the Palestinians and Jews. I mean, he was Jewish,
Yeah.
and
No, he wasn't, but that's okay.
well, he
Um,
was
Nazarene.
Nazarene. That's right.
yeah.
He was before Jewish, and well, he was a rabbi though.
He was Jewish, but he was Nazarene. That's where he was.
Yeah, but what's funny is that all the information that's, hidden about where he spent his life from 13 to 33,
Yeah, great
you know,
question.
that's there's a lot that we don't know about this whole story with Jesus. And I think we'll hopefully we'll find out more about that. I am looking for that photo. I didn't think it was this far back, but, nonetheless, I mean, he also wanted to put up a tower now. There was a big tower that like an arch, like a triumphant arch. And I'm like, why he wants to build this ballroom? And I'm like, excuse me, how about helping fund,
The
refund
poor.
the tariffs that you're getting to the people of this country?
Yeah.
It's just they don't want people to have money. They don't want people to, be happy. They want to keep people, what he cares about workers, 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 workers. Well, if we're getting all this, money in tariffs, can't we have a 6-hour work day so that we're not, ruin, we can
I don't
have a
think so.
quality of life and we can pursue some interests so that we're happier and we don't mind going to work I mean, it's like I don't know.
One
Go
one thing I
ahead.
want to tell you is I've heard about the ballroom that was made from donations and not from tax dollars. So that's
I
something.
understand, but you know what? It really it takes attention away from where he needs to focus his attention. Is now the right time? We are ready to hit a very huge recession in this country financially.
Mhm.
Is this really the right time to be thinking of it? He's thinking about his legacy, and that's why it's important. That's why he's talking about it.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I just think that it's insensitive to do that at a time when so many people, are being
Out of
losing their
work.
jobs. A lot of people are
Yeah,
losing their jobs to AI. The government just laid off a lot of people, right? But
and
they're
there's
all going to
more
be
coming, I
replaced with
think.
AI. Exactly. So the thing is, there's a lot of people hurting. He has not yet, look, he has not admitted, it's not that he does not know. The question is, you have to ask yourself then, what side is he on? But why hasn't he talked about the deaths that came from the vaccine? Why hasn't he talked about all the adverse events, the people who were harmed, pilots who can't fly anymore because now they're, basically
Right.
either
Yeah.
pilots that have died or pilots that have had their
Heart
life
issues.
people had their
Right.
lives ruined because they
Hmm.
Yeah.
were trying to do the right thing to protect their families by getting the jab, which they didn't want to get. For those who that represents, not everybody, some wanted it. But there were different batches. I mean, we have I have reports posted on the Goldfish report X page every day about different doctors, different an epidemiologist, different people reporting uh research studies now, what they know for a fact, what they, and it's amazing. You have people like Dr. Peter McCullough and the McCullough Foundation who are
Right.
unequivocally saying, and not only that, we have doctors from all over the world. Dr.
Gert Van
Yeah, a
Braun.
lot of doctors all over the
Yeah.
world who are saying this needs to stop. The mRNA needs to stop. This is dangerous. And you don't hear Trump talking about that. That I have to fault him for. I have to say there's
Yeah.
something wrong with this. Either he wants to be he's playing dumb. His name is Nicholas Hulsher, and this is what he talks about. And he's talking about the link between the vaccines and autism and neurodevelopmental disorder. And they're talking about, look, here's an example of this. This is one pilot here who, this is a terrible story. He was, he says, I
Oh,
lost my
wow.
health and career from risky COVID jab, doctor verified. I was threatened with my job, not to get something I didn't want, allowed myself to get intimidated and made a bad decision. I'm thankful I didn't lose my life for anyone in my family, but it's horrible what this man has gone through. And I repost his story because otherwise, no, people aren't going to know, right? But there's
Hmm.
all kinds of there's all kinds of look at this. Who makes clouds like this, right?
Nobody.
So this stuff hasn't stopped. And Trump, I mean, Trump's not king of the world, although some may say he is. But it's like, why hasn't this stopped? Why don't we have F-16s shooting these freaking planes out of the air to stop? If it comes to that, so there's an insurrection. So I think Trump is, if he hasn't already, I believe he did implement the Insurrection Act even
He
back
did.
on January 6th, because he had to, so we are under laws of war. We are under certain specific guidelines and stuff. I'm sorry, I was looking for that, but I didn't find it and I didn't want to keep scrolling. So we're a few minutes after the hour and it's just stuff to think about. Let's see. Oh, no graven image, right. So Jesus was Welsh. Okay.
Ah,
Mary was born in Wales. Interesting. He had auburn hair. Interesting. Hi, Charlene.
Really?
And Bella joined us too, so I wanted to say hi to them. Referred to history by Josephus.
Well, I haven't heard that at
Interesting.
all because I thought he was rabbi. They called him rabbi, which to me
Well,
gave me
but
the impression that he was of
right.
the Jewish faith, one of the tribes.
No graven images, exactly. And that's uh there's more to it than that. Yeah, auburn hair, exactly. He had more hi Karen. He had more olive skin because yeah, he was
Yeah.
look, and so what do you think about Trump, making, what is this? Trump Gaza, I mean, this is terrible what he's doing to these people over there. I mean, what he's funding and says, oh, well, we're going to give you the money and weapons to do it, but we don't want to be held responsible. Well,
Are you talking about
I
the
don't think
peace
it
plan
works
for
that way.
Gaza? Because I thought that
Yeah.
was a good thing. I haven't looked at the details, but most of the world seems to hold that up
Yeah,
as a
that's great now that they're all dead.
well, why didn't it happen years ago?
Exactly, exactly. It's
Well,
not
Trump wasn't
okay.
in power
I
years
was being
ago.
facetious just so everybody understands this. Trump could have done something in the very beginning. We
Mhm.
do know
Right.
Charlie Kirk was the one who was saying, okay, so they were given a stand down order in Israel. And, but that the way they do things is they create the boogeyman so that they have a justification to do what they want to do. And that's how it works.
Mhm.
And so, Charlie Kirk was just starting to explore that, to discuss that publicly. That whole story is such a mess. It's not even funny.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
It's
funny how it's
such a
fallen out of,
mess.
yeah, it's supposed to be the only investigation or thing on the news. And now it seems like the whole suspect, the guy that they had in mind, the story, I don't know what's true anymore. There's so many competing versions
Yeah,
of what happened. I
yeah,
imagine that that's purposeful so
sure.
that we do stay confused and
Yep.
so they can obfuscate what the actual events were. And will
But
the
but I
FBI
think
ever tell us? I don't
I
know.
think on another hand, I think they're purposely doing that to make it obvious. We have to figure this out for ourselves. They're doing this to make it obvious, make it extremely obvious that obviously it was an organized
mhm.
plan, that it was rehearsed, that it was
Yeah.
something that was pre-planned because they immediately, you know, took down the whole crime scene. Like, who does that? So
Yeah.
nobody does that. There's not even a death certificate. There's no, his no funeral. His family wasn't there. I mean, it's so suspect. It's not even funny. It makes you wonder if you really saw what you think you saw. That's why you have to question this whole thing because this is a false flag. And that's how they do false flags. They do it so that there's plausible
Right.
deniability. They do it so that there's multiple things going on so that, it's like an orchestra, right? The maestro,
Right.
right, is conducting. So, and it's all, meant to kind of like definitely draw away attention from, anyone who's actually guilty of doing something, whatever. But and of course there was that one boy who was the volunteer who was trying to tell his story, and they came and shut him down, and we have that video. In fact, we have his name. It's actually published on my X page, but my page on Twitter, or X, what we're going to call it, at Report Goldfish, has so much. And in fact, if you're ever really trying to uh, investigate a topic, what I suggest you do, and I'm going to show you how to do it while we're doing this really quick, because I want to show you, this is really what it's all about in terms of, utilizing the Goldfish Report specifically on Telegram or even on X. There's a search function. Well, this is really, really slow. Hold on a second. And then we'll wrap up. But I'm trying to get to my channel. They always do this when I'm live, but okay, here we go. So I'm going to screen share something, and I want everybody to understand really why it's important to like go to the Twitter or go to our Telegram channel. And that's because as a researcher, like I document everything here. Okay. So if you're looking for here it is. I mean, funny enough, vaccination in gematria is 666. And here you have, let's not forget what Mark Zuckerberg said about
share some caution on this because we just don't know the long-term side effects of basically modifying people's DNA and RNA.
So when Zuckerberg said quote, basically, the vaccine is modifying people's DNA, it seems pretty clear modifying is synonymous with changing.
Yeah. So, what I'm saying is what you can do is if you're looking for a certain topic, because this is a repository of information. I even use my own channel to do research because I know that I archive like the most important topics that I come across, that we come across, that we talk about. These things are all archived, even stuff I haven't talked about yet. You just go right up here. You can see this little, magnifying glass and just type in a topic. Give me a topic, guys. Just anything, really.
Chemtrails.
Okay. Now these are all the times. See, I've been reporting on this for a long time.
Yeah.
Wow.
So so these are all the stories that I found that I reposted on chemtrails, not just my reports, but other people's channels. You can see that when you click on it. So this is a lot. This is a lot.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying it's really good. Just go to the Telegram channel. Now you could also do this on X. And I'll show you how to do that if it'll just stop freezing. Maybe I should stop using Zoom because I know they're listening, because they wouldn't be freezing my screen if they weren't. So
Yeah.
you know what? Zoom, maybe it's time you go bye-bye because I'm getting
Maybe.
tired of you
Teams.
sabotaging my reports.
Can you
Sorry.
do Teams or another
Or you
Don't worry,
or
guys.
BitChute?
that's Microsoft.
Yeah, I'm on BitChute. So let's just go to the profile here on X, and you can do the same thing. And again, look at this. Like I'm on a T1 line. Why do I have an Ethernet, a hard line? This is not Wi-Fi. This is not even moving. Look at this profile. All right, finally. So again, at the top of where it says Goldfish Report, there's a little search function. You click on that and you type something in. What do you want to type in? Should we do chemtrails again or something different, Barb? What do you want to do?
Alien abductions.
Oh, boy. You're really putting me to the test, but you think I don't have anything on that.
Oh,
Here we
I'm
go.
sure you do.
Well, I don't know why that came up, but Candace must be talking about something. I don't know. Here we
What?
go. No, these aren't alien abductions. Here we go. We have redacted. We have
Oh yeah.
he's talking about alien bodies. So they're just, looking for the word alien, which is probably and stuff. Here's NASA. Okay, yeah, more believable. Here's three eye atlas. This is more believable than the official story, right? I mean, it just gets crazy, right? So yeah, so I'm not quite sure why they put all of these things in there, but so there's not that much on alien abductions. But if you go to Telegram, there'll be more. Trust me. Give me a different one, Barb. Didn't really have that much in there. Let's see. Mark, you have one?
Yes. How about New Jersey UFOs?
Okay.
New Jersey drones.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so these are all the stories that I have on New Jersey drones. It should be. Why is it not? It's the same thing. Hold on a second. Why is this not? Here we go. Let's see. Strange. It's not working. It should work. This is what, it should be telling you. Spraying all night. I have stories on drones and where the heck are they? That's really strange. Wow. I published everything on this.
How about orbs? Just orbs.
Orbs, yeah.
No, this should be in here. Maybe, it's because I don't pay $50 a month for this junk. Okay, here we go. So here we have the story on orbs. Here we have the video of the orbs actually creating a crop circle. And I had Patty Greer on, who won 8 awards for documentary filmmaking. And right at this point, these two orbs, when she reversed it, you could actually see binary code between them. So you could see that they were communicating. It was amazing and an amazing moment. And Patty shares this in her crop circle videos. But anyway, so you could see those orbs. You could see so you could see plenty of orbs, plenty of stories, of comments, things like that on orbs. Maybe not as much, because this stuff doesn't, let me see. You don't get to post that much on X. Like, Twitter would block you. But you see, I was I was verified, and now they want $50 a month, and I'm not doing it.
What? To
No.
be verified? Oh,
Look,
wow.
get verified, right? I'll press that, and then they'll be like, well, they're telling me that I have to cancel. Here they say I bought this subscription on the iOS app, so I have to go back to the app. But when you do that, it tells you like I can't just get um verified. I have to buy premium. It doesn't give me the option it's not even doing that. All right, I'll go back. Never mind. So it's you're supposed to. I think this is not as reliable. This particular platform. Everybody thinks this is the free speech platform, but it's baloney. You just saw it.
Yeah.
I posted every story on New Jersey drones.
Hmm.
Let's see. And what do I get? These aren't about drones. Where's all these stories? There's not one. See, this is absolutely, how about I
Like
just
they
put,
edited it?
let me just do drones. Let me just do drones. I don't know. It
Are
just
they
doesn't,
taking stuff off?
Barb, your guess is as good as mine. I mean,
Wow.
so here's some stuff. Here's the stuff I reported. I broke this story about the salvage option that the Clinton Foundation had hired the Benison Group to. It's amazing when you read, if you really read this document here and you read all these things that they were going to do to the people to keep them from voting for Trump.
Yeah.
People, we got to realize what we are dealing with. Well, it won't let me do that while I'm in. Am I screen sharing or no?
Nope.
No.
Oh, I wasn't screen sharing. You guys should have told
Nope.
me. No, but we're out of
Yeah.
time. So look, that's the idea. I'm sorry. I thought we were screen sharing. I
No.
don't know. Next time, let me know you don't see my screen. Sorry, guys. All right. Jesus was from Andromeda, where he was an archangel. Well, I heard he was
Look at the time.
mm, I heard he was what is it called? An Emerther prince. I don't
I
know.
hadn't heard that.
No, but I'll tell you. Another conversation for another time. We'll just leave it there. I hope everybody enjoyed our report tonight. It wasn't, as news heavy because I think, we have to step back. We have to realize there's this. Jesus even said there's more in the unseen than in the seen world. So there is so much more going on. And when you look at Karen Cochran's images, you could see it you could literally make out faces. You can make out all kinds of things. But especially if you look at these Soho and Lascaux images and you blow them up, there's faces in there. And these are entities that are either trying to block us from having our ascension, or they are trying to, maybe there's some of them could be angels, some are here to help. We don't know. It would be nice if we were given all the information about the realm that we're living in, but we're not. So, but it is spiritual. And the Ephesians, armor of God is definitely one of those things we have to really remind ourselves of every day. And just like, thank God you guys are okay from that car accident.
Yeah.
And that you're here to talk about it today. So, thanks for talking about that and sharing that with us.
Absolutely.
And I want to thank everyone who's joined us. Thank you. I appreciate everybody who came by tonight. We'll be on Facebook next week. And God willing. I am going to start publishing more articles. So I'm doing a lot of writing lately on artificial intelligence and on all these things, with regard to smart glasses and people recording you without your permission or knowledge, and, just how uncomfortable that is, right? These smart glasses, maybe they have camera, they have like a little light on it. They're like really big and like heavy, chunky looking, but they have a little light supposedly to indicate that it's recording. But you can see things on the screen. It pulls things up and you
Huh.
can see them in a way that, your eye can see that. And if you're always connected, they're always also downloading that information. Do they need that much information? We will talk about that, but on my blog, I am going to be posting those articles that I've been writing. So I hope everybody, did I get the email? Karen, I saw an email. I don't remember if it was a video. I think it was a video you sent me, Karen. Is that what that was? If it was, would you mind resending it? Because I'm not quite sure. Usually I'll respond, but this was a very difficult week. I had deadlines and stuff I had to get to. But it's good to see you two again. Thank God, that you're here. So and
Yes.
all is well. And I hope that gets that you get through getting a new car and getting all that squared away.
We're
But
lucky. We'll be able to
yeah,
get it done.
but there are, as you were saying, predictions that the stuff, there are going to be. Did you have any predictions you wanted to share before we go?
It's the same things I've said previously. I think
Yeah, that's what I thought. So I think we should be prepared, like Barb was saying, for the unexpected and get stuck, stock up, have extra water because you never know what's going to happen. And we'll see you all next week. I hope you all have a great weekend. Thanks
Be
for joining
safe.
you
us.
say
And I just want to say, Karen, if you wouldn't mind just resending that, then I'm not sure. I thought it was a link, a video that you were sending me. I wasn't sure. Um, but it might have gotten backburnered accidentally. So please resend it. So thanks for joining us. And we'll see you all next week. Have a wonderful weekend. And this concludes this edition of the GoldFish Report.